All right, welcome back, Hard Forkers. Today we are joined by Ryan from Modefi. Welcome along, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you guys are just about to launch. So I'm going to give you the floor. If you can tell us all about Modefi, what it is, the problem you solve. So take it away.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me here. So Modefi is basically an Oracle suite solution platform. So we have a few different products that we're building out. One of them that we're most excited about, and that's been getting a lot of buzz, is the Oracle Aggregator. So essentially, we're building smart contracts that's taking on-chain price data and any data that's already on chain and putting it through our aggregator. And then it's able to remove manipulations, outliers, any sort of anomalies, and then spit out more precise, trusted data on the other end. So we're integrating with oracles like Chainlink and Teller, and Bands as another one that we've spoke to. And we're also using dexes as well to get some of these price feeds. So it's completely trustless. The way it's being ran is through a smart contract. All the code will be public, so everybody will be able to see that and examine it for themselves. And then, like I said, transparency as well. So where all that data is coming from. And then there's DeFi platforms or whoever else wants to take advantage of that data. They can just plug and play basically into our smart contract and pull the price feeds and use them as they wish. So we're gonna actually have a demo of that fairly soon. We're pretty excited about that. And then we're also in talks with a couple of Oracle networks right now. We've been in talks with one for quite some time, actually. We've been working on this for almost the end of Q1 last year. So it's almost been almost a year now since we started this. And we're talking to more every day. And yeah, we've seen, we've spoke to them and talked to them about our mission. And they've been pretty open to hear what we're doing and, with the potential of joining us. The nice thing is, though, is that we're not reliant on partnering with them because all the data that we're getting is already on chain. It's all permissionless, so we don't really need the permission. But I mean, it helps to be able to partner with them and work with them to make things a little more seamless.
Awesome. Maybe talk us through your roadmap in a bit more detail. You've obviously been working on this for a year. What's been done? Where you at, and what's next?
Can I
Sure.
ask a question about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick. How have you been funded for the past year? I mean, it's kind of an unusual path what you're doing. Usually, it's like there's an idea and then a token sale, and then everything gets funded from the token sale. So if you've been going for a year now, that's pretty good considering you haven't done a token sale yet, which is coming up.
No, we've done a lot of the work ourselves. We also have a core developer on the team. He's a good friend, actually, of Trevor's as well. And then anything else that's costed money, to this point, has come out of our own pockets. The way I see it is, if we don't feel comfortable putting money in our own project, then why should anybody else, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Doesn't make any sense. So
that's cool. You can see your face and you can see put your own money in. It's two good strong points.
Yep, couple of big boxes checked there, Ryan. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe did you want to do a screen share of your roadmap at this point?
Sure. Yeah. So, like as I said, we basically started right near the end of Q1 was actually when we came up with the idea. Kind of a funny story. I'm an idea guy. Like I find problems, and I've been in the blockchain space for almost 4 years now, and reading all these articles and stuff regarding exploits and hacks and everything due to Oracle manipulation. So I figured, well, there's obviously got to be a better way, and we did a lot of research and found that there's really nobody doing it. And actually, a few years ago, there was one or two companies that might have been trying to actually do it, but there just wasn't enough data on chain to do it with, right? So anyways, in Q1, end of Q1 is kind of when we came up with the idea and started doing our research. And then we've started building out our team. And then we launched the product, sorry, not the product, the company to the public at the end of last year. Came up with our pitch deck and working on some partnerships. So for Q1 here, where we are right now is our token sale. Obviously, that's we can go into that a little more detail here in a bit, but that's with Trustswap. And then our decentralized aggregated Oracle solution. So we are actually we're pretty close to having a final product. We actually, on the back end side, we do have a final product. And as soon as our developer showed us that, we were pretty excited. It does exactly what we want it to. So we're actually building a front end also for that. Important to note for that. So one of the main reasons, I mean, it's not really needed for developers, but one of the main reasons for the front end is it's able to give history data on oracles. Also be able to see like timestamps when these oracles have output, the data. You can see the frequency. You can see if maybe they've been excluded from our aggregation, for what reason. Kind of build up a reputation score for oracles, because at this point in time, there's really nothing unless you dive deep yourself, right? So anyways, the beta will be released very soon. We'll have some teasers that hopefully in the next couple of weeks here. And then onto the on-demand Oracle. So we already actually have some clients that we are approaching and possibly working with to use this with as our first use case, which will be actually for esports. So for esports tournaments, so people are able to go to our dashboard and create essentially a contract that they can put, the fields for the teams, the amounts for the betting, all that kind of stuff, and then they can what they'll do is they'll launch that and they'll build the contract automatically, and then it'll put it on the blockchain, and then our validator network will be able to provide the results for that. So obviously we have to build out our validator network a little bit. We have some things up our sleeve to bring to onboard some users. And then Oracle onboarding. So I spoke about that a little bit. We have been talking to a few Oracles already. And then user onboarding for the on demand. And we already have 2 potential platforms that might be using that. And then we have our DeFi dashboard design and demonstration. So this might get pushed back a little bit potentially, depending on how well the on-demand Oracle goes. So we want to, first and foremost, we want to get that out. We basically want to have a full public release of the on-demand Oracle sooner than later, because we see a lot of demand for it already. And then we're going to have also staking and validation. So we also have a very cool, shared it with a few people. It's kind of low key right now for our staking. Everybody that we've shown it to has been pretty excited about it. Just kind of a different way of going about staking, being able to stake and also provide validation still at the same time. And then building up some more partnerships. We're talking with lots of people every day. It's been actually pretty cool how many people have approached us, some big names and stuff too. VCs, very well-known projects. So it's been very overwhelming, but good in a way. So then, that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't want to go too deep into the other stuff because that might get changed a little bit on our roadmap. As you guys know, tech isn't bulletproof. So we want to solidify what we have first and then move on from there.
Right. So tell us about the actual token launch. When's that happening, and how do people get involved?
Sure. So the launch itself is going to happen on Trustswap, and that happens on the 10th of this month at 9 a.m. PST. So sorry, one sec. So yeah, that'll be on the Trustswap launchpad on the 10th at 9 a.m. PST. And to be able to participate in that, you'll just need to, well, for a guaranteed allocation, you'll need to stake 3,000 swap minimum. So 3,000 swap will guarantee you a 1x allocation, and then 8,000 swap staked will guarantee you a 1.5x allocation. And then like anybody can really participate, but from my understanding, the previous rounds, they've sold out fairly quickly. They've been oversubscribed. So in order to guarantee an allocation, it's best to just stake 3,000 swap, and then you're good to go. You know you're in.
What's the dollar value of that? What's the
it'll
dollar
be
value?
Yeah, it'll be 20 cents.
I mean, so that you need to stake with swap.
Oh, yeah, it's 3,000. So I think right now it's about 90 cents or so. So just under $3,000.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, it's a little bit of a hurdle for some people, right? But, you know, most people seem to be okay with it.
There's classes developing in crypto, right? You know, like
Yeah.
you got your total noobs where there's nothing. And now you've got like the people that have been through the last run in August last year, right? Where they're kind of this crypto middle class. They have a bit of disposable. They're not rolling yet, but they're into about this level, right? It's interesting seeing it all kind of come together.
Yeah.
And you were saying like the VCs, right? Is there lots of VC interest?
There, yeah, there's an incredible amount.
Wow.
I will say that we've turned down a lot of funds. We could have sold the sale out multiple times over with just VCs, but we didn't.
Huh.
We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to create, you know, large holders. Also, to be honest, some of these VCs, they don't bring as much value as they may seem to. You know, they just want to kind of put a logo on your website and then take your tokens kind of thing.
Yep.
Which, I mean, some people will be fine with, you know, but honestly, you know, we're building out a product that we believe in long term. And, you know, we'd rather just raise, you know, enough to get us by for the next couple of years for development and stuff. And then we also have, you know, sources of revenue as well planned for the project. So we, you know, we have enough to keep us going for development wise until we get some revenue in and you know, avoiding selling the tokens if we need to. But yeah, no, it's been pretty crazy. Honestly, we didn't expect to get this much traction, exposure, and you know, people approaching us. You know, the amount of people that, you know, contact me or contact us through, you know, email and Telegram and that kind of thing. It's you know, it's awesome to see. You know, it makes us feel really good, right? So,
Stefano, any questions at this point?
Yep. So, two questions actually. The first one is relating like the product. You mentioned like in the aggregator side. How does it work in the case of like the data is actually like provided by two different oracles? Does the system like take an average of the two, or does the system push one information based on whatever parameters the system decide? Or is the user that decide that if the data is available on to receive the information from Oracle X?
so our basic aggregator, it's basically attached to about 6 Oracle feeds at the moment, and we're working on bringing on more. But the way that it works is it takes the timestamp, it takes the price, and then it puts it into our contract. The contract does the calculations. And then it averages out. So basically what it does first is it takes out the anomalies. It takes out like if the timestamp is too old, right? And if the price is too different. So let's say there's 6 in total. One of those 6, the price is way off. You know, we're already seeing that in our aggregation, which is kind of cool to see. You can see it already working, right? So it'll automatically take that out of the equation, that Oracle feed. Right out of the equation. Same with timestamp, like I said. If it's too dated, then it'll remove that as well. And then once it has the leftover data points, yes, it does average those out essentially.
Got it. Got it. The second question is in terms of like the usability, or like better like the possibilities that you can have. So assuming that like one of the 6 feet that you use is not available for, you know, a specific layer 2 or a side chain or whatever it is, in theory your system, you know, the data goes like into your smart contract. So if your smart contract is optimized for like side chains, layer 2s, or completely different blockchain at that point, you could be a bridge for blockchains where the original oracle doesn't arrive, doesn't go. Is that like a thought that like you guys are gonna like implement that at some point? Is that on your interest on some point, or is the product interest at that point like expanding like the amount of like oracles that are available and those type of things?
Yeah. Well, no, we what we want to do first is we want to have it fully built out on Ethereum.
Mhm.
But the plan down the road would definitely be to bring that data to other chains as well. And that's another thing that we'll be working on too. We were actually had a great meeting with I can't say the name, but with another blockchain, and you guys will find out later. And they actually they want us to work with them and build on their platform. So one of the things that we'll need to do with that is we'll need to build a bridge to bring our data over to their chain, which will also help with our on-demand Oracle as well. So one of the things that I'm super excited about myself is being able to keep collateral on the Ethereum network, because that's where most people use it anyways, for on-demand validation, and then having them being able to validate on other EVM compatible chains using a bridge as well.
Got it.
So they don't have to move their funds around. If they want to do validation on different networks, they don't have to move their collateral around. They don't have to move their funds around. They just go to that network and they just, you know, connect to our DApp and do the validations.
That is
So,
cool.
yeah.
That is pretty important on that. Speaking of which, like looking at like the business model, or like the payment structure on that, it seems like a pay as you go type of approach. Is that going to be like a pay as you go, like in the sense of like the user is going to be able to, I don't know, select, for example, like out of that list of 6, let's assume like I want to use only 3 of them, and so I pay for those 3 instead of 6? Or is it like automatic, and so like it's a pay as you usage, but the usage is basically kind of like just a call to the smart contract? Like how does it work for like someone that actually want to become a client at that point?
Yeah. So the aggregator is basically free, right? With the data that we're getting is free. We're not charging people for that. However, it's going to cost transaction fees for the people that want to use it, right? So that our basic aggregator is just going to include, you know, the handful of oracles that we're putting into it, and they can feel free to use it, you know, however they want. They can plug into it. It's, you know, permissionless, and take advantage of it. And where it would come into kind of what you're asking with picking, you know, oracles and stuff like that, that's where a marketplace actually comes into. So we're going to have, and we've discussed this with a few Oracle projects, and they're actually kind of excited for this too. But we're going to have the Oracle networks be part of our marketplace, and then clients can go there and they can say, okay, I want to get this kind of data, and I want to use these oracles, right? So then the oracles will then, you know, accept that. They'll provide the data through a smart contract, and then it does the same aggregation, right? So then that end user, the developer, you know, the company can pick which oracles they actually want to use. And then, you know, another thing too is, you know, it's not just, there's a couple different uses, obviously, for Oracle data. Sometimes it requires more frequent data. So you're going to probably pay more for that, because you're going to have to pay for the validation, you know, the Oracle networks to validate it more frequently. So it's going to cost them more. They're going to have to pay more for that. Also security, right? So somebody might want to use, let's say, all of the oracles we have for security purposes, right? But frequency might be maybe 2 oracles, because in terms of frequency, you know, it would get really expensive. doing that with 6 different oracles, right? So yeah, that to answer that question, that's kind of where our marketplace steps in, is taking care of that kind of stuff for specific needs and that kind of thing.
That's cool. That's cool. Last thing, completely like on a side note, relating like on the token sales and so on. So I remember like one of the project that we interviewed that they mentioned that they went on an approach of like using a different platform to do like their token offering, because they didn't have like the resources or like kind of like the know-how for actually going into like building smart contracts and so on. Well, in your case, guys, it seems like that you do have that know-how. So is there anything behind like that decision of like using a different platform than like just, creating a pool on Uniswap, or like having a classic token sales on your own? Why that decision of like going on a different platform, if there is actually a reason?
Oh yeah, there is. It's been quite a journey, actually. So originally we did plan to just host the sale on our own platform, and we were building that out. The tokenomics, the way we kind of structured it was pretty cool. We were pretty excited about it. But then, to be honest, we started getting a lot of traction. A lot of people started contacting us, and we made some offers, basically. So we figured, you know what, Trustswap has a really good user base. They already have good traction. They've proven themselves. So, I mean, it makes more sense for us to just, use their platform to do it, than try to do our own and build our own user base, right?
But you say that like you got a lot of people that got in contact, so you already got that user base, basically.
Well, no, we could have definitely built it up ourselves, but we figured, since, if it was already there, we might as well use it. We had another VC type firm also contact us that does, token sales as well, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We decided we ended up going with Trustswap. And also one thing to mention too is Dexforce Ventures. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them at all, but they're kind of like an arm of Dex Tools, like a venture arm. So there's about 200 people. It's actually growing every day. It's awesome. Of big, holders of Dex Tools, and they're kind of like the Dexforce Ventures. So it's like a DuckDAO in a way, where the token holders, the premium holders, if you hold over 100,000 of Dex Tools tokens, then you get into these projects, typically a lower price, sometimes a little bit longer vesting periods, that kind of thing. But they also have Dex Tools behind them, which is great. So Dex Tools is going to be helping us with a lot of advertising, market exposure, getting out there on their platform. We're going to be front row center, almost on every page of Dex Tools. And we'll also be getting our own, Dexforce Ventures, certified logo on there. So we'll be the only ones, right off the bat until their next project, obviously. But, it's kind of exciting that, they came to us as well with that. So we do have also Dexforce Ventures, like I said, which is like Dex Tools basically, and Trustswap. So we figured, it made sense. They could bring a lot of users to us, and a lot more exposure. Yeah,
that makes sense. Cool. I don't have other questions.
Or maybe Ryan, if you can just go through a bit more of the allocation of tokens. You're talking about vesting periods, etc. There, maybe just give us a bit more of an insight into how that's all structured.
Sure. Give me 1 second here. My mouse froze up. So if anybody wants, they can just go to our documentation part of our website, which is docs.modify.io. And it kind of gives a breakdown of everything, all the solutions we're providing, as well as tokenomics, token utility. Sorry. So token distribution, it can be seen. I can share my screen here as well here. So here's the token distribution. So obviously you guys can visit here if you want to see more detail. but we've allotted about 51.8% of the total tokens for the sale itself, and then the team has 1.5, and those are actually, sorry, go back to the token sale here. So all the token sale tokens are vested 60 to 90 days, all of them. There will be 20% released on listing for the public, and there will be 20% for the venture allocation, and then 15% for the strategic. And the strategic and the venture are both vested for 90 days, and the public sale is vested for 60 days. And then also we wanted to, give a little bit more peace of mind. We're going to lock the team tokens for 6 months and then vesting over 3 years. And then the foundation, so those will be locked up. So one thing that we did, agree with Trustswap was that we will lock up the foundation tokens and the team tokens, regardless. At least 75%. We'll probably do more than that for, I believe it's 60 days, 30 days. Regardless, we're going to probably do at least 6 months. And then that kind of gives a peace of mind. We're also going to be locking our liquidity within 3 hours after the Uniswap listing. And that will be for a minimum of 60 days. Chances are we'll probably do more than that. And then the validation and staking, we've kept almost 2 million for that. That'll be fully released after a year of vesting. And that's just kind of obviously for validation of our on-demand Oracle, and also bootstrap some users and stuff too, because we'll have some incentives for people to join validation, even if they don't actually put up collateral, which would be kind of nice. So, and then the token ticker is going to be mod, and 22 million total supply. And then our circulating on day one is going to be 2.8 million. The listing price is 24 cents, and the initial market cap will be 686,000. So the sale itself is, we had 3 million tokens sold for the venture. Like I said, those are unlocked 20% on listing and then invested for 90 days. Those guys, I'm part of that group. I'm pretty confident that a lot of these guys are long-term holders. So, it makes me feel good about that there. And then the strategic, we just kind of finished that one up. That was oversubscribed by almost 10x by a lot of people that wanted to get involved in that. It's pretty overwhelming, actually. And then public sale. So public sale, we're going to have 7 million mod tokens. So that's going to be through Trustswap at 20 cents each, 20% unlock on listing, and vested for 60 days.
Okay. Any questions on this, Jordan or Stefano?
Do you guys have any kind of protection or plan against like the Uniswap bots? Like new listings, there's always like bot frenzy can easily kill a token sale.
Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately, unless you build something into the token contract itself, there's not much that can be done about that. We don't want to add extra layers of difficulty in the contract itself. Like, we just need a basic token, where it's just going to be transferable and burnable, and approve all the kind of the basic stuff. We don't need a fancy token. We don't want to have to go too crazy. Obviously we're going to get an audit done as well on that, but with these crazy extensive tokens, there's always something that could potentially happen to them, and we don't need it. So we don't want to build in any unnecessary anti-bot functions, as much as I'd love to. Don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, it seems to be like there's a fine line between like under the radar, and then you get above the radar, and then you just get scalped to death by the bots.
Yeah, I mean, I suggest
keep it simple.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody do their own thing. Obviously bots can, they're bots. There's no way to really stop them for the most part. So just be careful.
Sure. Okay. So obviously we'll put links below, but that public sale is on the 10th. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, it's on the 10th, and it'll run for 12 hours from the 9th. From 9 a.m. PST to 9 p.m. PST.
Yep.
And then the actual Uniswap listing will be on the 16th. We haven't given out a time yet on that, but closer to the date, we'll have a time for that.
Awesome. Okay. So all go for you guys at the moment then. Pretty exciting. A year's worth. We like the fact you've put your own money into it. As Jordan mentioned, you haven't had that token sale to fund things. So that inspires quite a bit of confidence for sure. Any final questions, guys? We'll obviously have Ryan back on in the very near future again as it launches. But yeah, sort of pre-launch. Any final questions, guys? Mr. Gonzo?
Maybe, can you just walk us through like what you're, an additional use case? Can
Yeah,
you just
sure.
like talk about like how someone would use it? Like as a total no idea.
Yeah. So our one of our main uses for our token is going to be for providing collateral for validation. So if you want to be a validator, in the system, you'll need to stake and bond mod token, and that'll be your collateral. So there's another thing too, is that there's going to be obviously, within the on-demand Oracle system, there's going to be, higher values, different values at stake. If somebody's doing, betting on a tournament or whatever it might be, there's going to be, higher values that they're going to have in the smart contract. So the validators need to bond collateral. So they have something at stake to lose if they provide incorrect validation, right? So that's one of our uses is with the on-demand Oracle. And then it'll be also used for deployment. So when people are actually using our on-demand Oracle, they'll be able to use mod token to actually pay as kind of a fee to deploy that. And then also our governance. So down the road, not right off the bat, but we will have governance for, system changes, that kind of thing. For holders, they'll be able to provide input and then vote on changes in the system. And then we will have some of our fees paid as well in the Oracle Marketplace with our mod token. And then the DeFi dashboard subscription down the road, when we do have that all set up and have subscription fees, you'll be able to pay that in mod token. There'll also be staking and liquidity mining as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Excellent.
So I would be able to bet on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, with anybody, it's all trustless. You don't need an escrow or anything, right? So, and we're gonna have some videos coming out as well, kind of showing use cases, that kind of thing, so people get a better understanding of how it all works.
Sorry, one last thing. How long you
Yeah.
think is gonna take, like with the, with like the infrastructure of like the sales and so on? If someone is interested to jump in, how much you think is gonna be the window for that person to actually like being sure that, because you mentioned like that there is a sure allocation if they deposit like the token and so on. How long does that last?
Like, sorry, how long do they have to stake the swap to get the guaranteed allocation?
Yes, well, that is one, and two, like the guaranteed allocation, like how long do they have to actually like make a decision if they actually like want to go for
oh, good question. Yeah, so basically there's going to be a snapshot as soon as the sale starts. So anybody that's staking that 3,000 swap plus, there'll be a snapshot at that time at 9 a.m. PST on the 10th. And if you're staking at that point, then you're eligible for the guaranteed allocation.
Got it. So at that point, the person could just like sell the 3,000 token. And
well, from my understanding, when you've staked, it takes, after you unstake, it takes 7 days to get those swap tokens. So they won't be able to sell immediately. It'll take 7 days after that point before they can withdraw and do what they wish with them.
Got it. Got it. And then like once the snapshot is taken, they have time till for the entire duration of the sales token at that point. Like they can make a decision if they want to like buy into Modefi at whatever time, as long as the sales is open.
Yep. So they have 12 hours from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to visit the website, the Trustswap launchpad website, and fill everything out.
Okay. Cool.
What's the Trustswap track record like? How many token launches have they done?
I think they've done quite a few. I think it's at least 6, maybe 7.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They have a good track record, so we're pretty excited.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, we will be following this closely. It's all happening in the next few days. It'd be good to maybe have you back on for an AMA in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Once it's launched, we'll obviously be doing our review of you guys. But yeah, look, we wish you all the best. Exciting
Thank
times
you.
for you guys. So any
Gotta get
last
her out there
questions,
by the
guys?
10th.
I'm sure Ryan's got a hell of a lot to do with it launching in the next couple of days. So we won't keep you.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy, man. Yeah.
Sunday, working hard on a Sunday, right?
Oh yeah, my family's gonna kill me, man. But
we'll
besides the
we'll
point.
let you get back to them, Ryan. Thanks very much for your time. We'll, as I say, we'll be following you guys closely, and we wish you all the best. And we'll put the links below for people to get involved, get the token. Exciting.
Sounds good.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem
Thank
at
you.
all.
All right.